Hey everyone, we're back. We were off for a couple of weeks because we had some funerals and we had some other things happening, and
just be honest.
Lynsey had some stuff, but we're back here, not just real estate. And I don't know, I want to start off like, how's it been going, or should we, like, what's been happening? Anything major happen?
Yeah, well, you like really sugarcoated. Lynsey had some stuff. My entire family had the Norwalk virus. We were
what
like,
the hell is that?
We're
Norwalk.
just like 4 walking biohazards. So we had flu. To the 11th degree. You are so gracious to me because I texted Rob an hour before we were supposed to meet last Monday. I really felt like I could pull it together until I went to the washroom to do my hair and realized I couldn't. So it was about like an 18-hour virus. I lost 5 pounds.
Oh, wow.
And we're back up and running.
I kind of like those, sometimes those things that you're sick, you drop some pounds, it feels good.
You come out
and
dewy.
And then you get on the scale and you go, okay, now I'm going to stay here, but it doesn't happen.
You know, the problem is when you're done, you're fucking hungry. So you eat it all back 10 times over because you're rolling around. The market's busy where we are.
Yeah, things are moving. I think the confidence, knowing that interest rates aren't climbing anymore and knowing that possibly they're going to come down in the future, people are looking at that. And so I don't know, like looking at last year's numbers versus this year, the unit sales are almost pretty close to the same. It's either up. It's not that far off in a lot of different markets between Burlington, Hamilton, and Niagara and Brantford. But I did look at in the past year, housing prices. They pretty well stayed pretty close to the same. Like they're up 20,000 one month, down 20,000 next month. So it pretty well flatlined throughout the year. If you averaged out the averages, it averaged out it flatlined. But I think this year, later in the year, I think. I do see some houses selling that didn't sell last year.
Yep.
So people are coming in, and I do think that slowly but surely house prices are going to climb a little bit.
Well, so in our city of Hamilton, the January to February difference for a detached family home was $12,000 increase. So, and that's why real estate's subjective, right? Like for you and me, if we were to look at that as a percentage, we would say it's barely moved.
Yeah.
But, you know, if you're looking to move, $12,000 is a new living room suite or a trip for your family. So, and again, it's all relative and to your neighborhood. But yeah, it's nice to be out. Also, it's fake spring. So last week we saw almost a 30% uptick in inventory in our trading area. And I think one of two things is happening. There's a lot of vacant houses, Rob, which tells me that our boomers and our seniors are going into these assisted living facilities.
Yep, that's right. Yep.
I've seen more grannied out vacant houses in the last 3 months than I have in a hot minute. And secondly, everyone that was waiting for like their garden, or, you know, you don't want to take your dog out for showings when there's snow. There is no snow.
No.
So
we had snow for one day.
This
last month.
And then
or this month. I can't remember.
So I think fake spring is helping it as well. But
no, you know what? It is. And I'm just hoping that our summer is not going to get screwed up with rain every weekend. I mean, I hate those summers. I mean, like our weather in Ontario, Southern Ontario is I don't know. It's unpredictable. It's unpredictable.
It's unfair.
I get why people move to Florida for the snowbirds. They go down there and say, screw this. But the weather in Florida, the first month of this year, January, was not that great.
Yeah, I know. I paid to take my family down there. We're stuck in tracksuits with a pool we couldn't use.
Where did you go?
We went just outside Orlando. We did Disney.
I saw that on TikTok. Disney was on fire. The castle. Is that just crap, or is that real?
Well, like nothing was aflame when we were there except my emotions, because it's a stupid fucking place. My mom says, "You want to know the happiest place on earth?" At Disneyland.
Not being there.
The smoking section outside the front gate.
Is that
My mom
right?
said it was the only place she saw adults smiling.
No
what
kidding.
A fucking place to go.
No kidding. They charge like I've never been, but I heard it's very expensive. I mean I get it. The kids, you know, it's great. I think you don't want to take a kid there when they don't remember. You want to take them there at least 10 years, 8 to 10 years old. At least they'll remember it for in their adulthood. Say, yeah, I've been to Disney.
Well, and I think like respectfully, everything is expensive nowadays. The problem with Disney is when it costs $1,000 American dollars to take your family in, here's what happens. Everybody walks in and right away they put their nose in the air. Right? I've paid $1,000.
They got you.
I've paid $1,000 to be here today. I own Magic Kingdom. Well, the issue is there's a million people in there at once.
And,
so
yeah, and they're all, yeah.
And you're shouldering 5-year-olds
Yeah.
because they're proud to be there, and it's an expensive vacation, and some people freaking live for it.
Yeah.
I do not.
But I'm going to tell you something. They're not doing as well as they normally do. So people are not using that place as a first place to go to for vacations anymore.
Well,
it's too expensive.
It's too expensive, and they're an HR nightmare. They've picked up some really bad PR, and I think that if people are making conscious decisions about how they're going to spend their family's money, depending on where you lean on the spectrum, you might not be so enthusiastic about how Disney's treating a lot of their employees, and that's been headline news. So
anyway, but you know what else is a big headline? I go through Tim Hortons this morning, and I get a freaking coffee cup. It says "Win" on there, and I'm going, you know what? I go, why even come out with that? Like, you gotta roll up the rim, you gotta freaking go to a computer and see if you win.
Is that what the protocol is now?
I don't even bother. I'm not even wasting my time. I'll tell you, whatever prizes, they can give away millions of dollars in prizes because half the people aren't going to claim them because they're just going to throw the cup out because it's too much work.
Well, that's the collusion, right? Yeah. They were like, when it was easy enough to roll it up, your biggest fear was losing the little piece of the
you just
thing.
kept it in your car. And next time you went through drive-through, boom, or whatever, you just said, hand it to them. Like, what's the difference? Like, what is the difference? Don't do it. I don't know. I guess maybe the younger generation, they'll go through all the hassles of looking online, downloading an app or whatever, all that crap, just to see if they want a camping gear.
Yeah, or like a 2-year lease on a shitty car, Santa Fe.
Yeah.
Maybe. Here's the thing though, like, I'm a gambler. So if they told me that these things were available and I didn't have to go on my phone, because I'm also technologically stunted. I'd be buying a lot more coffee if I knew. Like, I'll tell you, my family's we're not huge fast food eaters, but we dabble. And like, when Monopoly's on at McDonald's, like, we make a conscious effort to see because I want my $2,000 to the bay, right? Like, I'm gonna do this. But I think the leading reason that although we could probably agree it's collusion so less people cash in prizes, I think it was a germ variable was how they got out of it to begin with.
Because of COVID bullshit. But you know what? Like, it's over. That's over. Like, I mean, this whole world's getting all messed up with, I don't think it's a germ. Like, I mean, like, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. All these scientists, they come out, well, yeah, your lips were on it, maybe. But your lips aren't on that cup because you've got a lid on it.
And like, when's the last time you've been in a Tim Hortons bathroom? I don't think germs are their leading concern.
They should have somebody cleaning those bathrooms at least once every hour. So. But the other thing, and let alone, and why did they change the lids on that? Remember, like a year or two ago, they changed the lids.
Oh yeah, so that it spills all down the front of you.
Oh my God! You know how long it took me to learn how to
pop the lid back?
To drink out of that new lid. I don't know why they changed it. Like,
is that your poison? Are you a Tim Hortons person? Do you have a Tim Hortons daily?
Yeah, I do. Okay. I have my 1 cup of coffee from Tim Hortons every day. The funny thing is, sometimes when I see the drive-through and I go, there's a lineup, I'll pull in on the side. I'll walk in, the lady sees me, boom, she pours a coffee, and she knows it's debit. I just tap it, boom, and then she goes on, continues.
What's your order?
Small black.
That's it? You can't do that at home for yourself?
I like the Tim Hortons coffee.
Yeah?
Actually, the Tim Hortons coffee we have here at the office is a little different than the Tim Hortons actually at the Tim Hortons. Like, the pucks that we do, we have Tim Hortons here. I do think it's different. I have Tim Hortons if I'm going out at night, I just drink maybe 3-4 sips out of it. It gives me that little push for the night. Ya? It gives me the push for the night.
So I've always been a 2 milk girl. And they have changed their milk, and now I can taste it. And so I've been off of it for about a month now.
See, why do they do that? They changed their the apple fritter donut. Like all their donuts are frozen, then they just throw them on a sheet and cook them. But before Tim Hortons, what's his name, Ron Joyce sold to whoever. They used to cook them fresh at every Tim Hortons.
Yeah, there was bakers. That was like a job.
But I get it. It's hard to find bakers that want to work at 3 a.m. to cook donuts for people showing up at 5 or 6.
Sure. It's also a franchise business, which makes general management and consistency difficult, right?
And then now most Tim Horton owners they own probably 4 or 5 Tim Hortons, each one of them. So, which is good because if they need somebody on one, they can grab somebody else. But
I wonder what they cost.
It's got to be $500,000 plus, maybe $1 million. I honestly, I don't know. I have no idea. I think you're buying yourself a really big headache job if you're buying a Tim Hortons franchise.
Yeah, I think your margins are really small when everything you sell is under $5. It creates a spreadsheet nightmare.
I remember, I'll give you one last thing about Tim Hortons.
Hit me.
On Kenilworth Avenue.
Okay.
A guy hits me from behind right in front of Tim Hortons.
Okay.
And I'm got my car there, practically blocking the entrance of the Tim Hortons. Manager comes out running, says, "You're going to have to move your car." He says, "Hold on, Sparky." I go like this, "Listen, I got to make sure I get this guy's driver's license and everything because I'm not moving this thing unless police come or he gives me his information." And he was freaking out on me.
Do you know why?
Because nobody can get into his place.
Yes, but also, and this I know from the Bay Street location. So Bay and is it York or Dundurn at that point? They can get fined. So if their lineups, they're always, that Tim Hortons at Bay Street used to have a lineup that came out on the road, which affected the moving traffic, and they would get a $20,000 bylaw ticket.
Oh my God.
So if you create the stopgap that doesn't allow people into the drive, and these franchisees are on the hook for like a literal.
This was like, I don't know, this was about 10 years ago. And I said, "Yeah, listen, I just got to get this guy's information." And I make him sign that he knows it was his fault. Like I say, "I so-and-so, hit so-and-so car from behind on Kenilworth Avenue, right in front of Tim Hortons." I write it out and I have him sign it.
Yeah.
Because you know how it is after you leave.
Of course.
They change their mind. But some headline news is
where do you want to go?
Where do you want to go?
Well, you've got fun ones, you've got weird ones.
I got let's talk about tenant left in the dark, landlord arrested for turning off utilities without warning. I get it.
There's two very clear sides.
I get it. You know what? I'll tell you something. I'm a landlord now, okay? I've been a landlord since I was 20 years old. Okay. Now, the difference between now and versus when I was 20 as a landlord is that if I was 20 years old and my tenant did not pay rent or do anything, I would go crazy and I've had that, and I freaking went there and would go freaky because I'm paying the mortgage now on that thing, because at 20 years old, you don't have money as it is. Like you're trying to get ahead in life, and the tenants are screwing you over. And guaranteed, this guy went in, shut the utilities off because they probably weren't paying him, and he's going and it's costing him money every month. Like, why should I pay for heat and hydro for this guy if he's not going to pay me rent or anything? So he went and shot. He got arrested. Can't do that. But I get his mindset, and the landlord tenant board, they got to change things. They got to change things, and they're not doing it fast enough for landlords. And these tenants are causing a lot of friction. You know what? And then I heard that there is a list of people. Google people's names now if you're going to get a tenant. I'm telling you, Google their name, because pretty soon if a tenant is not going to pay their rent and they're going to be delinquent on purpose, guess what? Your name's going to be on the list. Good luck. Good luck. Once you get that sheriff lock the door on you and you can't get into your unit, good luck getting the next location. And you may have to stay at your parents' basement forever, because I'll tell you, like, I Google everybody now.
Well, I mean, the Kathleen Wynne government, 5 years ago, did this big pivot. And the idea was that, you're right, Rob, someone lives in your house. And what she did was she really just changed the words. It's now your property and it is their house. And I think that everyone's entitled to a safe, warm place to be. But I also own rental units. Yeah. And if I missed a month of pay, I would need to look into my family's bank account to make up the difference on this shit. And you're right about Googling people. We have a house for lease right now, legal duplex. He went to the city. So, he spent good money. He put 2 apartments into a bungalow on the mountain. And the first applicant that came through to us, it just didn't add up. You're introduced to people who have no liquid income, but they own $80,000 vehicles, but they work $30,000 a year jobs. And the onus, this is the interesting thing, in my opinion, the onus is on the landlord to look at this. As real estate agents, we don't collect the monthly rent check, right?
Right.
So for me to vet your tenant would be needless, because I'm never going to speak to them again. Yeah. So I give my landlords 3 to 4 days, and I give them the list, and there's a couple different websites you can use, and 1-for-1 applications on this particular unit was just a full-blown fib face. Yeah. And how do they think you're not going to?
You know what? the one thing about this is I was just gonna mention something, and I was going blank on it. But with these tenants, I'm going blank on what I was going to say.
Well, there's professional tenants, and you and I see them all the time, and everybody deserves a place to stay, but you need to be able to pay for it. And there's also an argument that the cost of rentals has shot up in triplicate in such a short period of time, which is also a little bit predatory. And it's hard to be a landlord when you're looking at roommate situations.
Oh, here's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
So why is it a bank you can get evicted in 3-4 months, but a landlord you can't get them out for about a year? Like that, isn't that bullshit?
Or more.
You're better off freaking not paying the mortgage and let the bank, but then you lose your house,
then
right?
You lose and all of your equity and investment.
But why do the banks have more power and just say, hey, I'm a tenant now. Tell the bank, if you are the owner of the house and you live in it and you're going to get repossessed, just say, sorry, we signed a lease with a management company.
Right. And I leased this house back.
You can't kick me out for another year.
And it's obvious that they needed to take those measures because there are also very vile landlords that own buildings that are in horrible disrepair and are treating people poorly. I don't think that you can turn people's lights and water off, but it's also situational. Was this a family or was this a single dude that's dealing meth out the front window? And when you live in a metropolitan area, if you're in a Hamilton or a Toronto or Burlington, like, you know that you're getting families with waitress mums and taxi driver dads. And you also know that you're getting literal bad guys that are looking to traffic through your fucking apartment and you can't get him out. We have a landlord, he's 8 months waiting for his tribunal date. They got there and I'm kid you not, he missed a period.
That's bullshit.
4 more months.
That's bullshit. You know what? I can't believe they're even getting away with that. That's bullshit because I know one little tiny mistake on a form and they say, sorry, we have to, that is bullshit.
And if you think that you're going to let tenants squat in houses without a good reason, we'd call that a gray area. So you would hope when you get to the tribunal, there's still a little gray there and we'll wash away a missed period.
They just, no, they don't care. And it's brutal what they're doing. But anyway, we're actually in the process of opening up a property management company.
Oh, that's exciting.
So I'm in for a glutton of punishment, but because we do a lot of leases. We get asked a lot, so I said, why not start up a property management? We're actually going to call it Golfi Property Management.
I love that.
So we're looking for names and names and names, and so when I wanted to do a test run, so I called a few people that have small buildings, and I just said, hey. It's Rob Golfi calling with Golfi Property Management. Oh, you guys do property management now? Oh, wow. That's awesome. I'm glad I know that. It
is awesome. One, because it's like a super cool revenue stream that will probably never die. But two, like I think that good landlordship lies in the property management.
Yeah.
If you've got a team that's building relationships with tenants, then people aren't going to stop paying their bills unannounced, right?
Exactly.
This is important. And our country and other countries are in tough times for sure.
Yeah.
And everybody needs a safe place to live, but not at the expense of my family being able to eat and pay our principal mortgage as well, right?
Yeah.
Which is why we just need them to come down a little bit. If those variable rates came down,
no kidding.
right?
I know, eh?
That would open the world up.
So I was just talking to this one agent, and she represents this building. So I'm just getting the details on it. I don't have everything, but they've negotiated a deal, a 2-year term, at 3.99% interest. That's not a bad deal
for a building.
For a townhouse.
Oh, okay. This is lovely. That's great news.
4%.
Yeah.
If you can do, I take that any day of the week. So it's a builder in Hamilton, and I'm getting all the details. And I guess they built a lot on spec, right? They got I don't know how many units they got. If you close in 30 days, if you close it in less than 30 days, $25,000 off the price.
Are these $1 million townhomes?
Yeah, they're about 800, 850, somewhere in there. That's not a bad.
It's not a bad amount at all.
So I'm going to look into it. I'm going to show the team tomorrow. Say, guys, listen, they're paying well. They've got good interest rates. This is perfect for anybody that's looking for a townhouse at 3.99. I mean, like by then it will be down to that, but you're getting it now.
And the builder is financing it.
No, TD is going to finance it. TD. So they're working a deal with the TD Bank. So I don't know if that. I mean, it hasn't been rubber stamped yet, but that's kind of what looks like it's going to go.
Well, it just came to my attention that RBC has some products like that as well, especially if the new builds have green initiatives attached to them.
Okay.
So if people are shopping on spec, it's an interesting avenue to go down if these have, like Enter Guide rated or specific green initiatives that the banks are giving considerably better mortgage rates.
I would jump on that. You know what? Especially if you can get $25,000 off the price, you got interest rates. I think I'm looking at it and say, okay, like I'm just trying to work out the numbers. Usually on $1 million, at 4% would be $4,000. So it's going to be less than that. It'd be about 825, 850, whatever, is the total amount. So you're probably looking at about $3,500 a month mortgage, which, I mean, it is a lot.
It is what it is.
It is what it is. On a let's say a 700,000. I'm not sure what's 4 times 7 is $2,100 a month for
a brand new house
for a mortgage.
Yeah,
and so it's not a bad gig. I'm gonna look into it more. I think it's worth it. So I'll let you know more about it after the show. But if anybody's interested, get a hold of us. Foster Living or Golfi Real Estate.
Yeah, well, that's an interesting buyer's market too, because for the last 10 years, I have helped people make ugly houses pretty. Yeah. And in the last 6 months, I have met more people who have zero interest in that. And it's a little bit, remember the COVID supply chain and you couldn't get floors or refrigerators?
Right. Oh my God.
And I think that people have really started to lean into the under 5-year-old properties because of, one, the financing benefits, and two, like, what if you can't get a stove for 8 weeks?
Yeah, some people had to wait a year to get a fridge or a stove. Can you imagine that?
I waited 8 weeks for one, and it came and the fucking side was taken out of it. They dented, and then they were like, "Sorry, it's going to take like at least 3 months to get you another stove."
So you just take that one until they give you another one?
Yeah, but like, who wants to use a stove that the side is dented in? Like, that's a ticking time bomb.
It's a bummer. I know.
Well, to be fair, new houses don't necessarily come with appliances either.
No, that's
it's like
true.
A fear recurring theme.
That's true.
But with that interest rate, you could probably afford to go and source some new ones.
Would you believe I had a house that was brand new, and it was in Niagara. We were asking $850,000, and this house had no air conditioning, no automatic garage door opener, no appliances,
no window coverings,
and rental water heater and rental furnace.
Oh wow!
I negotiated $840,000 on this thing, and my client was, no, we want a quicker closing than that. And I said to him, otherwise we don't want the deal. I go, are you kidding me? I go, if we don't make this deal, you're going to be kicking yourself in the...
And you've got $25,000 in additional expenditures to turn it into a real house. Christ, those people probably needed 60 days to save the money to buy the appliances to move into the house.
And he wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
Next day, I says they walked. And he goes, do you want me to see if we get these people back? And I called. They were pissed off. And they said, no, we're not interested in the house. See how one night, this guy, because he's got 2 other partners, this guy... I don't know who called it. And I said, you guys really lost your best offer. I said, it's going to cost you guys 25 to 30 grand now.
And did it?
Well, still for sale.
If anyone's looking for a house with no window coverings, no appliances, and no garage door opener.
But see what I'm saying? And they don't listen. And then this is how the consumer thinks that we're pushing them. We're pushing you because we want to make this thing happen for you. Now, 2 days later, you're regretting and say, oh, can you get that guy back? And guess what? They're gone. And you know what I mean? Like, buying and selling is an emotional thing. People don't realize. And if you you couldn't wait one more month right now, pretty soon in another 30 days, right? 30 days from now, they would have been closing.
Yep.
Guess what? We're not sold. So you don't think the next offer is going to be 60 to 90 days also?
Well, that's it.
So there you go. Now he's going to be looking in June for a closing, which he could have had April. And it could have been sold.
And every day that it's sitting there, he's got another coupon on the front door. And people are going, what the hell's wrong with these people?
Yeah.
This is also a builder issue, too. And I don't want to stand on a soapbox, but it's fucking men, Rob. Like, if I was going to start a new subdivision, I would look at the fact that these new families who are probably maybe first or second time home buyers wouldn't have the liquid cash to afford the bells and whistles. Yeah. They don't build these things in. builder standard today is very different than what builder standard was before. I've got ladies moving in with white Mercedes Benzes to new cul-de-sacs in Winona that won't have a road for 3 years, right?
Yeah.
And they have no choice. They bought it on spec. And I just think like these builders could do themselves some favors, especially when they're at this point in the job.
Yeah.
Now we got to sell the damn thing.
Yeah.
What are you doing to entice the public? Well, your price is high. Your house is half finished from a user's perspective, and you want everything today. Give your head a shake.
You know what? The smaller builders will put appliances. They're obviously going to charge you. They're going to charge you. They'll put the appliances in because and that'll get rolled into the mortgage, right? So let's say the appliances cost you $10,000. So the builder will say, well, listen, we'll buy the appliances, we'll put them in, but the purchase price can be $10,000 more. They're not making money on the appliances, but they'll put them in because they want to make the sale happen.
Well, and there's families that wouldn't be able to do it otherwise. Like if you're not financing those things, you don't have $12,000 to go to CAS.
Can you imagine you sign on the dotted line?
You move in.
You move in, and then you go to the appliance store, and they say, "Sorry, your credit doesn't allow you to buy any appliances." So you got nothing. You got no appliances.
Do you know that I've had more than one story come to me that they've bought a new build? It's now hit June. They go to turn the central air on and realize that they don't have central air.
Shit,
people overlook this all the time.
Oh, you know what? You're right. A lot of people and a lot of realtors make a mistake. Think that there is central air and they check off. And guess who has to buy the central air conditioning?
I was going to say, you only have to buy one central air unit and you will never forget to look at that again because that's a fucking shitty day. But it's interesting because the new building code does require the air exchanger handlers to be put in the basement, which is the dumbest thing. Like you ever like, we need to just replace all the air in this house. I'm going to go press the button, but they can get away without putting an air conditioner attached.
It's baloney. It's baloney.
Speaking of baloney, want to talk about a trip to Thailand that we are not going to take?
Oh my God.
Okay, so Rob sends me this headline and video that there is a population overload of monkeys that are attacking people, but worse yet, tell everyone what happened to this town in particular.
They are infested with monkeys. It's like Planet of the Apes taking over. It's insane. So there's a small town I think it's in Taiwan or something like that. And actually a Chinese investor has put his investment on hold because of all these monkeys. Like people are leaving this town. So before it used to be a town where people go and visit, and
it's a tourist spot.
It was a tourist.
Yes.
There's monkeys around, no problem. But now there's an infestation of monkeys, and you can't kill these monkeys, right? Because otherwise the world's going to go nuts. So they're trying to neuter them. They're trying to catch every female monkey out there. And what's happening with these monkeys? They're eating all sugar stuff, and it's making them more horny, and they're screwing more
and making more babies.
And it's just, these monkeys are like, they're like rabbits. They're just like,
to present the gravity of this, not only did the town need to shut down to tourists because it was unsafe, but all of the industry in this town had to shut down.
They're closing up. Everybody, so people are leaving. Can you imagine where you're living right now? You have to drive slow up to
because the squirrels are so bad.
Yeah,
right?
Can you imagine having an infestation of squirrels that you can't even drive? And like sometimes you're driving fast and the squirrel runs across. You're like, oh shoot! And you hope that he goes between the tires. You don't land. You don't pop it. You don't pop it. You kind of look in the rearview mirror. You don't see something like dangling. Yeah. But this place here. I mean, these monkeys, I don't know. They're like little human beings.
And they're mean. So,
like
I have a friend that went to Thailand and was communicating with the monkey in front of him. Because Rob, this is so foreign to us. Like, I'm sorry, if I was out in the world and was looking at a monkey, this would catch my attention. Yeah. But this was all part of a ploy because while he was speaking to the tiny gentleman in front of him, somebody else was on his back picking his pocket.
Yeah.
Now, my friend Anthony is very smart, very fast, very strong. So he very quickly went to kung fu the shit out of this. But these monkeys are trained, okay?
They go on the beach and they go right into your cooler. They go right into your purse. They go right into everything.
They get everything.
Yeah, I'm telling you, these monkeys aren't stupid.
This one attached itself to the back of Anthony's leg.
Wow.
So not only did he have no wallet, He didn't get to meet a new friend. He had to go to the hospital in Thailand with no identification and tell them that he's got a monkey taking a chunk out of the back of his calf.
It's insane.
So, I mean, it's obviously, what's the point in opening the shops if your tourism can't even come here safely?
No. But they got to do, you know what? This is just going to get worse as time goes on. And like they even have gangs of monkeys. There's gangs. You know what? I'm reading the article. So there's like little gangs of monkeys. Oh my God. Like if one single monkey for some reason gets food, a gang of them say, "Hey, buddy, you're in my territory. You're not getting this." Like it's literally, these monkeys are intelligent and they're causing a lot of problems. Can you imagine the smell? These monkeys like don't have toilets, right? They just crap wherever they are. They pee wherever you are, and like it's pretty bad. Go online. Thai city monkeys, and you will freak. You'll freak. You won't believe it. It's tight.
It's scary. It looks like a movie. Like it looks like CGI generated. The volume.
Yeah, like I mean, they did movies of the birds. They did movies of bees. They did movies. They haven't done movies of monkeys. I think that would be a good movie.
The monkey infestation.
Yeah, the monkeys. They take over.
Oh,
they did. I guess that would be Planet of the Apes. I guess.
You sent me another interesting one too.
What's that?
The monkeys was funny. Well, no, the monkeys was eye opening but funny. But you sent me a Canadian headline, which was a video of two gentlemen talking about the immigration options. Oh. And like, I want to preface this by saying the video you sent me is like definitely highbrow individuals, very like they're in white collar jobs. White collar jobs, yep. So it's definitely like IT lawyers, medical, and I will summarize for the crowd. The first gentleman said, like, I'm really considering what my immigration's options are. I got the vibe that they were somewhere in the east side of the world. And the friend told him, don't fucking go to Canada. No. Yeah. And their biggest points were that the cost of living here is gotten to such a point. This gentleman who would come for a $200,000 a year job offer wouldn't be able to subsist with his family.
He'd be renting forever. He says at $200,000, you going there just to save up rent to buy would take you years. And so it's getting around that Canada is not one of the first choices of countries to move to. And people that are here are saying, you know what? If I'm going to be poor, I'd rather be poor back where I am, because at least things are a little easier there. People come to Canada we are becoming a wealthy country with third world living pretty soon, because people can't afford to live here. So, and it's getting around, like people are moving here and saying, you know what, this is not the country that I thought it was. And it's gonna take 20 years before we catch up to the housing situation. Like somebody moves in here and moves to Canada, you know, they're all happy, you know, and everything. They don't care about the weather because they're just happy to be in a better country. You know, everything's, you know, cleaner, this and that. But then they find out that they'll never make it. Like if you're in your 40s or 50s coming to this country, forget it. You have no chance. You don't have a lifetime to catch up.
Well, and the math on the video was interesting, because it said, you know, if I'm making $200,000 a year and I came here with 200,000 Canadian dollars, which, let's be clear, is probably a long shot, just generally speaking, that they would be able to afford a $900,000 home in Toronto, at which point the presenter showed everyone what a $900,000 Toronto home looks like. And as I was sitting there, I was like, you haven't considered the fact that Toronto has double the land transfer tax.
Yeah, no kidding.
So forget your down payment. Like your down payment is gone.
Well, it'd be like 30 grand or 40 grand just for your land transfer tax.
Right. And it made me wonder, like, what kind of job was offering him 200,000 in Canada? So maybe something in the IT realm. IT or medical is where I assumed, which means you're also thinking you're a family man. Do these people know that we don't have any fucking daycares here? Like, don't come here with your children because there's nowhere to put them. Right. I've got girls who are pregnant putting themselves on daycare lists.
Yeah, no kidding. Like 3 years before they even they're going to have their baby in 9 months, but like a year after that. So 2 years, and there's waiting lists even longer than that. Your kid's going to be 9 years old before you actually get accepted to go to daycare.
And like, you don't get a choice. Oh, you want a good daycare? Go fuck yourself. You'll get whatever is available the day your child needs it.
It is going to be tough. I mean, I get it. In the 50s, in the 60s and 70s, Canada was a great country. Europeans were leaving there because, you know, jobs were here. The country was growing. But you know what? In Europe, it's actually better there now than it is here. You know that, like Italy, like I'll tell you, they've got, like, they're a rich country now,
and the quality of life and the public supports are there.
Everything is. I mean, and that's why they don't want to come here. They say, why should I come here? I got a great life there. Like, but after the war, you know, in Europe, everybody was, you know, leaving Europe for a better country, because they went through World War I, World War II. They say, you know what, we're getting out of here.
Yep.
And chances are, you know, in Europe, another war happening. I don't know, knock on wood. I don't think another one will happen as long as we're alive. But I don't think they think there will be one. But who knows, right? Like, but the thing is, Canada is not as good as people think it is. And what about the U.S.? But they're not. How's their immigration? I mean, they're not bringing as many as Canada per capita.
Well, they don't like anybody.
Yeah.
And they think they're the best at everything.
And then people don't like them either.
It's a mutual respect. But like, I think that because of the way our country's spread out, it's very easy for us to identify holes in industry that we need to fill. And as Canadians, we've done that through immigration.
Yeah.
I think in the States, when they see holes in industry that need to fill, they train Americans to fill those positions.
Right.
And what do we need? We're not manufacturing things here anymore. We need high-level folks. And you want smart people around, then they're going to want safe schools for their kids and houses that they feel comfortable in communities where they can go grocery shopping. You know, we just sold a house in a neighborhood that was very affected by 1970s to 90s Canadian immigration. And you can tell, because if you're not Italian or Croatian, you're Serbian. So basically a couple of generations worth of diaspora all landed in this neighborhood, which is east end of Hamilton. It's beautiful, forested. There were great amenities. Well, they just closed the grocery store.
Oh, in East Hamilton.
In East Hamilton.
Which one's that?
It was
Food Basics?
the Fortinos that became Delesios.
Oh, right. I know that one. I know which one that is.
So now I want you to think about who lives in that area, because most people are 70 plus Italian.
Yeah.
And now they do not have a walkable amenity for grocery anymore.
Right.
Which means that the time it takes, the energy it takes, and the money it takes to get groceries into your house in this neighborhood have changed really dramatically. And you might say, that's fine, they'll have a garden. Well, you can't have a garden when it's 14 degrees in February.
No kidding.
So,
and they don't use their app to get groceries delivered to them because they're too old. They're not into that
I want
technology.
you to call an 85-year-old comrade of yours.
It's hard enough for me at my age.
Tell them to order groceries.
No kidding.
So I think that, the infrastructure doesn't necessarily support the kind of lifestyle. And there's some benefits to a European style of living. More comfortable.
You know what? I am sometimes so surprised. I'll walk into a house and I'll see like an 80-year-old couple and they've got their computer. And I mean, I don't know, like, and they're so like,
they're good at it.
They're good at it. Like they're like good at, like, they got their email address. They got Facebook, and they can see their kids, grandkids, and whatever great grandkids. They're on top of it, and I'm like, wow, like they're
good for them.
Like it's great, because I mean, social media is a way of families seeing what's going on with their families, right? Like it's just, you know what I mean, and. But yeah, like I'm just totally shocked. But those people, I would imagine, would probably be able to order groceries, because obviously they're a little bit more technological, adapted to today's times. But my parents couldn't do that.
No, I don't think I could.
My parents
do
are
that.
European. Like, I mean, like you know, my dad, you know, like he spoke English and he understands English, like reading, but not as my mom. You know, she read novels. Even she was born in Italy, but like she came here at 16. But my mom would read Harlequin romance novels and everything like that.
Oh,
She would go through like a thick book like this. I couldn't believe it. She read way more than I did, and I just couldn't believe it. But my mom wasn't good on the computer, but she loved reading though.
And did that help her learn English?
Yeah, she when she first came to Canada, she went to high school, and they kind of put you through quickly, you know, as you're going, right? And but then you know, obviously back then in the 50s, you know, getting a job was more important, making money and stuff like that. So,
and so when your family was immigrating, the prospects were tenfold. These guys who are second guessing what Canada has to offer, you don't think your family ever did that?
No, they like like, think about it. It's scary going to another country. Like but because the jobs were here, everything was here in Canada, and that's why they came. And you know what? It was good. They wanted a better life. I mean, so my dad, like during the war, he was like 7, 8 years old. Like he told me, he goes, when the Germans came through his town, like he goes, they didn't bother the little kids, because the little kids were like messengers to go to other families in the village that he lived in. And so they would, you know, that's how they communicated. But adults weren't allowed to leave the house.
Wow.
And then you would hide any livestock or anything that you had for food, because otherwise they would take it. The Germans were bad. They were not very civil. And so he, like, as an 8-year-old, you would remember that for life.
Of course.
But you know what I'm saying? As an 8-year-old, just because of the fact that it's traumatic, like freaking all these Germans coming into your village, and now you can't do anything, and it's just kids roaming around. But yeah, like,
okay, but this might be interesting to you. So my family immigration history to Canada falls on both sides of that. So your folks left a really beautiful, special country with great heritage and culture to come to Canada because they were under siege. We've got farmers and war brides from England and Ireland. Wow. So the first half of my family chose to immigrate because the alternative was dying of starvation, right?
Would this been the 1800s?
Yeah, like late 18s, early 19s. So we've got soldiers that are back and forth being deployed, bringing pregnant girls back with them. And from my mother's side, this is all English and Irish. Wow. And they chose to leave, 1, because it's like a rainy, cold place, but 2, because there's no fucking food. My dad's side left because they are the Germans. And when the war was over, they really didn't want to be in that country anymore, to be ostracized. So they immigrated out of necessity because they were the bad guys and they needed to. Canada was their witness protection program for that side of our family, which is interesting because neither of us have the perspective of the gentleman in this story, which is like, I'm moving for guaranteed opportunity and great money. Yeah. And $200,000 is nothing to shake a stick at. Like, nobody in our family was looking forward to being a high earner when they came.
No, they came. Well, my parents probably came here. They barely had probably a couple dollars in their pocket. Like they literally just got off the boat, got on the train, came to wherever, Montreal, Toronto, Hamilton, Niagara Falls. And they obviously had somebody else to help them, you know, get settled and everything. And first thing they did was look for a job. That's it. We need to get a job. And, you know, and there was a lot of racism back then with my parents coming over. But they moved in an area where there's a lot of Italians that immigrated, and so basically everybody, your neighbors and everybody, were pretty well the same situation as you were in. But yeah, it is tough to like this country. I don't know, like, man, it's tough this country's tough just being born here and trying to get ahead, let alone an immigrant coming here. But usually anybody that's coming here, the world language is English, so there's a high probability that the majority of the people that are coming here know how to speak English. So, well,
I wish them all the best, and we want all the smartest, brightest, best people that do good things and come up with great ideas and spread their love and affect our housing and build some fucking grocery stores so the senior citizens don't need to take darts for 45 minutes to pick up eggplants.
No kidding. Guys, we're actually over. If you guys want to follow, just follow and share, because listen, Foster Living or Golfi Team, look us up and we'll have more of this stuff coming up. And if you want to email us, just look us up and we'll talk about anything you guys want us to.
Thanks for
listening. Yeah.